What up, mathletes? Whoop, whoop. All right, this is 12.4, solving quadratic equations by factoring. And your learning target is, I will solve quadratic equations by factoring and using the square root property. Much more emphasis on the factoring, but we'll get to that. Go ahead and write this down. Remember, pause as needed as I go through this. Your warm-up is determine whether each polynomial is factorable. If it is, then factor it. All right, let's do this. I'm going to do generic rectangle and diamond. I'm going to have x squared minus 4x minus 2. It's going to be 8. Or excuse me, what am I doing? Minus 2 x squared. I think we're in trouble because the only factors in minus 2 are I can either do negative 1 times 2 or 2 times negative 1, and none of those get to negative 4. So we're going to say not factorable. But let's try this one right here, and I'll actually put the diamond on the right side. How about that? Which really doesn't matter, but there we go. So x squared minus 32 minus 4x down here is going to be minus 32x squared. Okay. What can I make 32 with? That's what, 8 times 4? Oh, hey, right off the bat. Negative 8x and 4x. That'll do it. Because that'll add to be negative 4x and multiply to be negative 32x squared. So let's try this out. 4x, negative 32, or excuse me, negative 8x. My goodness, I must be tired this morning. All right, so what can I pull out up here? I can pull out an x. Down here, I can pull out a 4, right? And then x times x is x squared, x times 4 is 4x, negative 8 times x is negative 8x, and negative 8 times 4 is negative 32, so this is x plus 4 times x minus 8. And this one's real nice, it's a difference in squares, so the square root of x squared is x, square root of 9 is 3, there's a minus sign, so this is going to be x plus 3 times x minus 3. Love that, or just factor it out like normal. It's up to you. Okay, time to go write down our square root property, which you should already know for the most part, but we're going to say it out loud. So let's look at that. This says to solve a quadratic equation in the form of x squared equals n, take the square root of each side. For any number n is greater than or equal to 0, if x squared equals n, then x equals the plus or minus square root of n. Basically, this is just saying what we've been talking about a little bit. Every square root actually has both a positive and a negative value, right? If I take the square root of 9, that can be both 3 and negative 3, which we kind of saw when we do difference of squares, right? The x plus 3, x minus 3. If I take the square root of 16, well, that can be both 4 and negative 4, because what's negative 4 squared? It's positive 16, right? Squaring something makes it positive. So just keep that in mind. Example is x squared equals 49, take the square root, it's going to end up being plus or minus 7. And that does mean plus or minus this symbol right here. So go ahead and write that down. All right, let's go back to our work. By the way, pause as need be, and then we'll go back to our work. Okay. So I have x plus 6 squared equals 81. Well, again, let's square root both sides. Now, when I do that, right, I'm going to get two things at one time. I'm going to get x plus 6 equals 9, and I'm going to get x plus 6 equals negative 9. Then we're just going to have minus 6 from both sides. We're going to do the same thing at one time, right? And what do I get? X equals 3 over here, or I get x equals negative 15. Look at that. Both of those are solutions here. All right, let's take a look right here at B. Again, I'm going to square root both sides, and I'm going to get two different things. Now, the square root of 56, we're going to have to estimate that. If you do that on a calculator, let's do it. Second function, square root of 56. We're going to go to the 10th, so that's about 7.5. So this is approximately plus or minus 7.5, right? Probably should put equals plus or minus 9. But let's do this. It's going to cancel that out. So I get y minus 4 equals 7.5. And I'm going to get y minus 4 equals negative 7.5. So let's add 4 to both sides. And we're going to do it at the same time. Why not? Remember, you're adding 4 to the 7, right? Not to the 0.5. That'll line up. You can always put a 0.0 if that helps you. So that's going to be y equals, what, 11.5? And this is going to be y equals negative 3.5. Make that negative more prominent. So those are our choices. Okay? Awesome. Let's go take a look at the zero product property. And this is what we're going to use a lot. So we have the zero product property. If the product of two factors is 0, then at least one of the factors must be 0, right? So if I have real numbers, if a, b equals 0, then either a equals 0 or b equals 0. It has to be. The only way you can multiply to get zeros is if a number. All right, so we're going to turn to the back here. There's actually another property called the distributive property. It's kind of self-explanatory, but I do want to show it to you. So if we look right here, guys, what can we pull out of 18y squared minus 6y? Well, between 18 and 6, we can pull out a 6. And for y squared and y, we can pull out a y, so I'll be left with 6y times 3y minus 1 equals 0. Here's where we're going to use the zero product property. I have a quantity here. Let's say we called it A. I have a quantity right here. Let's say we call it B. We see that A times B equals 0. So the only way that's possible is if either A equals 0 or B equals 0. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to separate these into two equations. One is 6y equals 0. The only way 6y equals 0 is when we divide by 6 is if y equals 0. That's 1. The other possibility is 3y minus 1 equals 0. In this case, what do? Add 1 to both sides. We get 3y equals 1, or divide by 3, y equals 1/3. Those are two possible answers that would make this 0, and those would be the roots of this function. Now let's factor this using diamonds and rectangles. So watch this bad boy. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited about it. We got our diamond. We got our rectangle. Watch this. This is where the zero product property is going to come into action a lot. This is how we're going to be factoring most of the time. X squared, 27, 12x. In fact, take a minute, pause this, try to factor it on your own, and then let's come back and talk about it. Okay, assuming you did that. Multiply these together, we get what, 27x squared? All right, I haven't done this, let's see. 27 is 9 and 3. Oh, wait, there we go, 9x, 3x. Right off the bat, right? Might as well go 3x, 9x. I don't know why. Pull an x out here. I can pull a 3 out here, and then times x, right? And then what times x is 9x? 9. 9 times 3 is 27, so this is x plus 3 times x plus 9 equals 0. Now again, one of these has to be 0, so we're going to do it one at a time. X plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3 from both sides. We see that x equals negative 3. Now some of you are wondering, can I just right here say x has to be negative 3? Yes, you can. Just like I can look at this and say x has to be negative 9, because negative 9 plus 9 is 0, right? But you can also work it out. X plus 9 equals 0. So minus 9 from both sides. X equals negative 9. Would you have to do all the work up to at least this step? Yes, but then after here, if you just say, hey, then x equals negative 3, x equals negative 9, that's fine. Where it gets a little dicey is sometimes we're going to have like 2x minus 3, so it becomes a two-step equation. There you may need to show some more. All right, so now I have my two roots, and check it out. You want to know what's also tricky, guys? These are also my x-intercepts. So my x-intercepts would be -3, 0, and -9, 0, which is going to help us in graphing. But that's later. And then last, what if we have difference in squares? I know the square root of 9y squared is going to be 3y, and the square root of 16 is 4. So this is going to factor to 3y plus 4 times 3y minus 4 equals 0. Whoa, look at that. We have two steppers here. So 3y plus 4 equals 0. Who cares if it's a fraction? Let it happen. 3y equals -4, divide by 3, divide by 3. We get that y equals -4/3. Or 3y minus 4 equals 0. Add 4 to both sides. 3y equals 4. Or when you divide by 3, y equals +4/3. Look at that. Boom. All right. Well, this is some good work. So with that said, go ahead. Let's try out the homework and see what happens. Peace out.